Have you ever noticed that the more available you are, the less people seem to value you? It's strange, isn't it? You answer immediately, you show up for everyone, you help without being asked. Yet somehow, the world treats you as if you're invisible, almost replaceable, almost secondary. And maybe you've wondered, what am I doing wrong? Isn't kindness supposed to come back to me? Isn't generosity supposed to earn respect? But here's the uncomfortable truth. Your constant availability is sending a message you never intended to send. A message people read instantly, even if you don't. A message that whispers, my time isn't important. My boundaries don't matter. You can have access to me whenever you want. Carl Jung warned us that when we live through our persona, the mask designed to make us acceptable, we slowly erase the parts of ourselves that demand respect. And Machiavelli would have said it even more bluntly, what is too abundant loses its value. Today, we're going to talk about the 5 invisible signs that you're too available. Signs you don't see, but everyone else does. And once you understand them, you'll also understand why people don't respect you, and how to reclaim that respect without becoming hard, cold, or distant. Before we go deeper, stay with me until the end. This video can shift you from being the one who is chosen last to the one who chooses. And if you're ready for that shift, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you're the first to receive the next awakening that might just rewrite your life. Have you ever noticed that you are always the person people turn to, yet rarely the person they truly see? It starts quietly, almost invisibly. A friend needs help, so you say yes. A coworker is overwhelmed, so you stay late. Someone you care about is having a bad day, so you push your own feelings aside to hold space for theirs. You do it because you're kind, because it feels right, because you were raised to believe that being available is the same as being good. But there comes a moment, slow, but unmistakable, when something in you begins to ache. Not because you're giving, but because no one seems to notice the cost. They assume you're always fine. They assume your time stretches endlessly. They assume your heart never tires, and you don't correct them. You've learned to hide exhaustion behind softness, disappointment behind patience, loneliness behind a smile. Deep down, though, there's a question you've never dared to ask. When do I get to be held the way I hold everyone else? Most people who are too available never set out to be. It isn't a flaw of character. It's a pattern built from years of wanting to be chosen, appreciated, and loved. Maybe you grew up in a home where your needs were seen as inconvenient. Maybe you learned early that being easy, quiet, and undemanding kept the peace. Maybe you were praised for being mature, responsible, and selfless. And so you kept becoming more of what the world celebrated, while hiding everything it didn't. Over time, your availability becomes your identity. You're the dependable one, the strong one, the understanding one. And while those qualities are beautiful, something painful begins to happen. People start valuing what you provide more than who you are. It shows up in small, piercing ways. A friend only calls when they need emotional labor. A partner expects forgiveness without offering change. A colleague loads work onto you because you're so good at handling things. And you comply not because you want to, but because you've forgotten how not to. Then comes the moment that stings the most. The day you finally try to say no, the day you hesitate, the day you take a breath before responding. Suddenly, the people who loved your yes become irritated by your pause. They say you've changed. They say you're distant. They say they don't recognize you anymore. Of course they don't. They're meeting you for the first time, the you who has limits, needs, and boundaries. This is the hidden tragedy of being too available. You think you're earning love, but you're actually teaching people that your love doesn't need to be earned. And society reinforces the wound. Especially in America, where productivity is worshipped and emotional resilience is expected. You're told that selflessness is noble, that being dependable is admirable, that good people don't complain. Yet beneath those cultural ideals lies a dangerous truth. People respect what is scarce, not what is constant. Carl Jung warned us that when we over-identify with the persona, the version of ourselves built to please, we lose access to our authentic self. And when you live as a persona of endless availability, you stop noticing how deeply your real self is starving. Maybe the exhaustion hits you at night, when you finally sit with your own thoughts and realize how little of your day belonged to you. Maybe it hits you when someone forgets a kindness you bent your whole heart to offer. Maybe it hits you when you look in the mirror and don't recognize the person who keeps saying yes out of fear rather than love. But here is the truth beneath all of this. Your availability is not the problem. Your self-abandonment is. People don't respect you because you've never required them to. Not through anger, not through confrontation, but through quiet, unconscious permission. And if you felt a pull in your chest reading this, it isn't guilt. It's recognition. If this resonates, share your personal story in the comments. I read every single one, and I will respond. You are not alone. If part 2 was about the story you've been living, then this part is about the machinery behind it, the psychological, unconscious, deeply human mechanisms that shape why you become too available in the first place, and why people instinctively stop respecting you when you do. Let's begin with Carl Jung, because no one understood this pattern better than he did. Jung believed that each person develops a persona, the mask we wear to be accepted in society. This mask is not inherently bad. It helps us function, build relationships, and navigate the world. But the danger emerges when we become the mask, when we confuse pleasing others with being ourselves, when our worth becomes tied to how helpful, accessible, or agreeable we appear. For someone who is always available, the persona becomes a prison of politeness. You behave in ways that keep the peace, avoid conflict, and maintain your image as the reliable one. But beneath that mask lies the shadow, the part of you that resents being overlooked, that longs for reciprocity, that craves respect. And here is Jung's warning. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Your availability isn't just a habit. It's an unconscious strategy you learned long before adulthood. Perhaps you used it to gain love, perhaps to avoid punishment, perhaps to prevent abandonment, but today it manifests as self-erasure. Now let's shift to Machiavelli. While Jung explains the inner world, Machiavelli explains the outer one, the brutal mechanics of social dynamics. Machiavelli observed that humans instinctively value what is scarce and take for granted what is abundant. It wasn't cynicism. It was realism. He warned leaders never to make themselves too accessible, because predictability breeds exploitation. And the same principle applies to your emotional life. If you are always available, you teach others that your time, your presence, and your energy require no effort to earn. People stop respecting you not because they're cruel, but because you remove the friction that creates value. Scarcity generates respect. Boundaries generate respect. Hesitation generates respect. Instant availability erases it. Nietzsche takes this even deeper. He spoke of the sovereign individual, the person who commands their own life rather than allowing the world to command them. According to Nietzsche, weakness is not a lack of physical strength, but a lack of self-possession. The person who cannot say no, who bends to the expectations of others, who sacrifices their own needs out of fear, this person loses their sovereignty. And here is his piercing insight. He who cannot obey himself is commanded. When you are too available, you are not obeying yourself. You are obeying the world. You become reactive instead of intentional. Other people's needs become the organizing principle of your identity. You shape-shift to maintain harmony. But the harmony is false. It's the quiet suffocation of someone who has forgotten their own will. Michel de Montaigne gives us yet another perspective. He believed that human beings cling to certainty and predictability, even when it harms us. People who are too available often fear ambiguity in relationships. You respond quickly because silence makes you anxious. You give too much because withholding feels dangerous. You over-explain because being misunderstood terrifies you. Montaigne would say you are trying to control the uncontrollable, how others feel about you, by offering yourself endlessly. But control is an illusion, and the cost of chasing it is your personal freedom. All four thinkers point toward the same conclusion. Being too available is not an act of love. It is an unconscious attempt to avoid rejection, conflict, or abandonment, and the world senses it. Not consciously, not maliciously, but instinctively. Humans are wired to respond to confidence, boundaries, and self-possession. When you lack these qualities, people may appreciate your kindness, but they will not assign you authority or respect, because respect is the natural response to someone who values themselves enough to be selective with their time and energy. Let's go even deeper. There is a hidden psychological exchange in every relationship. People don't just respond to what you do. They respond to what you tolerate. They respond to what you allow. They respond to the invisible rules you set through your behavior. If you always say yes, your yes becomes meaningless. If you always respond instantly, your presence becomes background noise. If you never assert a boundary, people assume you don't have one. And here is the hardest truth of all. People treat you the way you treat yourself. If you disregard your own needs, others will too. If you silence your own voice, others will not hear it. If you abandon your own truth, others will never learn to honor it. So ask yourself, where in your life have you been too available? Where have you been giving without receiving? Where have you mistaken self-sacrifice for connection? And most importantly, what is the cost of continuing like this? Share your thoughts or personal experience in the comments. I will read your stories, and I will respond. Your awareness begins here. To understand how being too available silently destroys respect, we need to see it in action, in real, everyday moments. Not dramatic ones. Just the quiet behaviors that people notice immediately, even if you never do. These examples might feel uncomfortably familiar, and that's the point. Awareness begins with recognition. 1. Instant response syndrome. Picture this. Someone texts you, and before they even lock their phone, you've already replied. At first, they're grateful. It feels nice to be so in sync. But over time, your instant responses stop feeling thoughtful. They feel expected. In dating culture, especially in America, speed is often interpreted as eagerness, and eagerness is interpreted as neediness. When your availability is constant, your value becomes constant too, and constant fade into the background. The person who responds thoughtfully holds more weight than the person who responds instantly, because intentions signal self-respect. Instant replies signal emotional hunger. 2. Emotional over-explaining. Imagine you've been misunderstood at work. Instead of stating your point clearly, you launch into a long explanation, apologizing repeatedly, softening every word so no one gets upset. While you think you're being kind, what others perceive as insecurity. Over-explaining tells people, I need your approval to feel okay. And the moment someone senses that you need their approval, they instinctively assign you a lower position in the social hierarchy. It's not cruelty, it's psychology. Confident people don't justify their existence. They speak, they clarify if needed, and they move on. 3. Boundary blindness. A friend asks for a favor at the worst possible time. You're exhausted, you have work to finish, your mind is barely functioning, but you say yes anyway. Not because you want to, but because the thought of disappointing them feels unbearable. Later, resentment builds. Not because they asked, but because you betrayed yourself to satisfy them. People who lack boundaries don't just lose respect, they lose identity. And here's the painful truth. The more someone senses that you're incapable of saying no, the less they believe your yes has meaning. 4. Kindness that comes from fear. You're generous, supportive, emotionally available. But if you're honest, part of your kindness is driven by fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of conflict. Fear of being replaced. Kindness rooted in fear doesn't inspire respect. It inspires dependence in others and depletion in yourself. People may like you, but they won't look up to you because leadership, even emotional leadership, requires the ability to choose, not just to comply. 5. Predictable presence. Think about the people you admire. They're warm, but not always accessible. They're present, but not predictable. Predictability creates comfort, but too much predictability creates boredom, and boredom is the death of respect. When people can predict exactly how you'll respond, they stop paying attention. But when your presence feels intentional instead of automatic, people listen differently. They value differently. They respect differently. These 5 signs are subtle, but together they create the silent message. I am here for you more than I am here for myself. And that message is the birthplace of disrespect. If one of these examples sounded like your life, share it in the comments. I read every story, and I will respond. There comes a moment in every person's life when the truth no longer whispers, it demands to be heard. If you've made it this far, you're standing at that exact threshold. The place where you begin to understand that being too available hasn't just cost you respect. It has cost you pieces of yourself. But this part of the journey isn't about blame. It's about awakening. It's about stepping out of the unconscious patterns that shaped you and stepping into a version of yourself you haven't met yet, the one who is whole, sovereign, self-possessed. Let's begin with the most important truth of all. Your time is your life, and the person who controls your time controls your identity. You may think you've been giving people your availability, but what you've really been giving them is your existence. And today, you learn how to take it back. Step 1. Practicing the radical pause. The first step toward reclaiming your power is surprisingly simple. Stop responding immediately. Stop reacting instantly. Stop giving the world instant access to you. When you pause, even for a few seconds, something powerful happens. You interrupt the old pattern, the automatic yes, the instinctive compliance, the desire to please. You create space. Jung said that all transformation begins with awareness, and awareness requires a pause, a silent moment in which you hear yourself for the first time. When you pause, you shift from reaction to intention. And intention is where respect is born. Step 2. Integrating the shadow you've been running from. Inside every overly available person lives a shadow, the part of you that's tired of being overlooked, tired of being used, tired of giving more than you receive. You've been taught to hide that shadow because you believed it made you selfish or unkind. But Jung tells us that the shadow is not our enemy. It is the gatekeeper of our power. Your shadow is the part of you that knows how to say no, how to protect your energy, how to demand reciprocity, how to walk away when something no longer serves your soul. Integrating your shadow doesn't mean becoming harsh. It means becoming whole. It means letting your anger teach you where your boundaries should be. It means letting your disappointment show you what needs to change. It means reclaiming the instincts you abandoned long ago in order to be loved. Step 3. Building sacred boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They are invitations. An invitation for others to meet you at a deeper level. An invitation for respect, for reciprocity, for conscious connection. A boundary is simply the truth you live by. This is what I can offer. This is what I cannot offer. This is what I allow. This is what I will never allow. When you set boundaries, some people will resist. They benefited from your lack of them. But the people who truly see you, the people who belong in your life, will rise to meet your boundaries, not fight them. Boundaries don't push the right people away. They filter out the wrong ones. Step 4. Becoming strategically available. Machiavelli understood a principle that modern psychology has confirmed. Scarcity creates value. If you want people to respect you, you must become intentional about your presence. Don't answer every message instantly. Don't drop everything for people who have never dropped anything for you. Don't give your emotional labor to those who haven't earned your trust. Your availability should be a conscious choice, not a default setting. When you become selectively available, people begin to notice you differently. They listen more, they value more. They rise to meet the energy you bring. You stop being an emotional convenience and start becoming a person of significance. Step 5. Reclaiming your psychic energy. Jung believed that our psychic energy, our emotional, mental, and spiritual vitality, is finite. Every time you engage in conflict that doesn't matter, explain yourself unnecessarily, or try to rescue people who haven't asked for rescue, you drain that energy. But when you guard it, something miraculous happens. You develop presence, not loudness, not dominance. Presence, the quiet, magnetic force of someone who knows themselves. Presence is why some people walk into a room and command respect without saying a word. Presence is why people listen to those who speak with intention rather than urgency. Presence is what you gain when you stop giving your energy away to everything and everyone. And here is the final truth. You cannot be respected until you respect your own time, your own energy, and your own boundaries. Respect is not something others give you. It is something you teach them through the way you live. If something in this part struck you, a sentence, a realization, a moment of clarity, share it in the comments. Tell me the shift you feel happening inside you. I will read your reflections, and I will respond. There comes a moment in every inner journey when you finally realize you were never meant to be everyone's solution. You were meant to be your own beginning. And maybe, for the first time in a long time, you're starting to feel that truth. Not just understand it intellectually, but feel it in your bones, in your breath, in the quiet knowing that you can no longer live the way you once did. Because the old version of you, the endlessly available one, the one who shrank themselves to fit into the expectations of others, is dissolving. Not violently, not angrily, but naturally, the way leaves fall when a tree is finally ready for winter. You are not losing yourself. You are shedding what was never you. There is a particular freedom that comes when you stop trying to be the person others expect. A spaciousness, a dignity, a return. And this is what most people never tell you. Respect is not earned through sacrifice. It is earned through presence. Through the quiet, grounded energy of someone who knows their worth so deeply, they no longer need to prove it. Look back at your life for a moment. Think about all the times you tried to hold everything together. Think about the nights you stayed awake replaying conversations, wishing you had spoken up or walked away sooner. Think about the moments when your heart knew the truth, but your fear negotiated against it. You did not fail in those moments. You survived them. And survival is always the first chapter of awakening. But now you are entering the next chapter, where your yes becomes sacred, where your no becomes an act of self-love, where your presence feels intentional rather than expected, where your relationships shift from obligation to mutuality. And yes, some people will not like this new version of you. They preferred the version that overgave, who stayed silent, who absorbed the weight of their needs without asking for anything in return. Let them go. Let them fade into the background where their entitlement belongs. Because the people meant to walk with you, truly walk with you, will not be threatened by your boundaries. They will be relieved by them, grateful for them, inspired by them. You are stepping into a life where you are no longer chosen for your usefulness, but valued for your being. A life where you are no longer drained by everyone's expectations, but fueled by your own truth. A life where you don't have to be loud to be powerful. Your silence will speak. Your pace will speak. Your boundaries will speak. Your presence will speak. And the world will respond differently because you are different. This is not the end of your transformation. It is the doorway. Take a breath. Feel the shift happening inside you. The old self is releasing. The new self is emerging. The sovereign self, whole, aware, unapologetically grounded. And when you walk through that doorway, remember this. You were never too much. You were simply giving too much to people who gave too little. Now you begin again, on your terms. If this final message touched something inside you, comment below and share the insight or moment that resonated the most. I read your reflections and I will respond. And before you go, like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next awakening. This journey is only just beginning.